don't care.
You know what?
I'm not going to send a correction.
Forget it.
But the first thing on there, I'm telling you, you got to go get this. And I'm using it. I'm starting to use it for our podcast. Is that this thing called Opus.pro?
I'm going to do it. I looked at your clip. It looked really cool. Did it put the words in?
Everything. 100% of what you saw was created by this app.
Okay. I love that. I love it.
And here's the best part. You give it a URL. So like I give it a URL, and I had to kind of learn how to do this a little bit because there's not a lot of instruction, but because it's free. And so you put the URL of the YouTube in, and then it takes off and it says, all right, you're number 572 in the queue, and it's probably going to take about an hour. We'll let you know. You can leave. We'll let you know. All right. And then it sends you a thing that says, all right, it's ready. And you got a link, and you go into the link, and it has a minimum of 10 clips from your video.
How long is the video?
Oh, imagine it's you and me, 45 minutes.
Okay.
Maybe.
Right? Okay. And you can do it, and it'll pull 10 clips out.
It pulls out 10 clips that are like 1 minute.
And they're like pithy. They're like, how does it know? How do it know? How do it know?
AI, how do it know? And so then it pulls that clip out, and then it puts the captioning in.
That's outstanding. I love that.
All right. And you can tell it whether you want the captioning to be like where it highlights the words as it's going or something like that, fun stuff like that. But then when it gives you like 10 clips, it rates each one.
Does it?
Yeah. To what it thinks will be how it will be received by viewers. And it rates it from 100 to 0 or 0 to 100. Okay. So the very top one, the highest score I've gotten from the top one is 99. And then the next one, and then it gives them to you. So the next one is like 94. The next one is 82 and stuff like that. And it tells you why it got that score.
So you can boost it next time. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. This is it's just unreal. I didn't get a chance to talk to you last week, but I went to a morning session. I'm in an innovation group around here, and and a lot of big companies, and this guy was there. A few people were there, all 3 or 4 of these panelists the whole morning. They're all in the AI business. They either have AI consulting firms or they know a lot about it. And one guy was like the former CTO of Etsy. He just left. He still does a lot of work for them. But some of the stuff that he was saying just blew me away. They use a lot of AI, pattern recognition stuff and other things. But I just didn't realize how big Etsy was. They have,
oh my God, Etsy is such a great company.
They have 44,000 servers. He said they have 1,000 software engineers. But there was talk about GPT-4 and the fact that OpenAI has spent $100 million in computer time to train GPT-4. $100 million in computer time. The other thing this guy said, which was just fascinating, was he said that there are these, and I think you know this because at least you've used somewhere you can just give a tool your writing samples and it'll write in your style.
Yeah.
Right. You could do the same with, basically I don't know the name of this tool. I can find out. I may have it, but he says you load everything into this thing. It costs a couple $1,000s.
Wow. And
you load everything, all your content that you can find that you have, or you direct it to any content that you've ever created, videos, audio, all your writing, everything you possibly can. And it ingests it all. And then it becomes you. And a person can query that AI, and it will answer the question as you would answer it.
Right.
In your voice.
I love that.
With video. With you saying those things. And he didn't have the video with him, but he had his phone with him and he held it up. And it was him talking, giving an answer to something. And he said, I've never said these words. I've never answered this question, but this is exactly how I would answer it.
Yeah.
He said, so we're basically on the border of immortality.
Here's the problem or the thing the way I'm looking at this. There are all these people who, yes, you know what? They have been involved in AI for years. Okay. This is a sea change game changer. You know what ChatGPT did.
Yeah, that's
other companies are now coming, and you know what other companies are now coming in and doing. These guys have no idea.
The guys that I was with they were saying this is actually an absolute game changer.
But they're saying it because it wasn't what they were doing.
I don't understand what you're saying. You're saying that the people that I saw don't realize how big it is, even though that's their business.
They will not admit it. Okay, I want you to think about something.
I don't even understand why you're saying.
Let me put it to you. Let me put it to you this way. All right.
Why wouldn't they admit it?
Back in 1990, because people have egos.
But that's what so they were lying when they.
I'm not saying they were lying. What I'm saying,
I don't understand.
Back in 1990, when I wrote my "How to Get the Most Out of Trade Shows" book, which I don't have right here in front of me right now, I have a chapter in there.
Okay, so but you understand the impact of this.
Oh my God! Oh my gosh!
But other people don't. But other people don't.
I am so blown away by this.
You understand it, but I don't, and other people don't. I don't know what you're saying.
No, what I'm saying is I'm 71 years old. I've been through this a few times, and what is going on right now is bigger than when the internet came out.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah, and I've been saying this since November.
I know.
22nd. That this is bigger than anything that has ever come out before. So see, and here's the thing. All we're doing is calling it AI. All right. But here's the thing. On November 22nd, the world changed. And yet on November 21st, there were a shitload of people out there who called themselves AI experts. And none of them saw this coming. Not like this. None of them did. They were doing AI that was a very different type it was a different level of AI. Okay. When Google created Bard, it was only a couple of weeks after they released Bard that Bard started behaving in ways Google had no idea it could do.
I know.
When it started talking in Nepalese.
Yeah.
All right. And the CEO comes out and said, I don't know how it's doing that. See, this is what I'm talking about.
They don't even know. They don't know how it's.
All these people who are supposed AI experts. See, right now, shit's happening. Okay. They're not just really they're really not getting. I don't mean getting.
Okay.
They're not prepared for.
Okay.
And this is why, and this is also why you're also seeing people who are very smart people who were part of the AI world.
Here's the thing, Steve. I really want to have like a conversation with you about all this, but I don't want to be always going back and forth like you dissing me.
Oh, I'm not dissing you.
I know. It's just that whenever I say something or bring up this topic, no matter what I say, it always seems like you. I know you know more about this than I do because you're doing a lot of work in it.
I really don't. I don't, buddy. I really don't, buddy. And if that's how you feel, if that's how you feel, man, I really apologize. I don't mean that. This shit scares me.
Yeah, me too. It's freaky. It's
I have almost my entire adult life. One of the things that I have learned, one of the things that has been a core part of my thinking was a report, and I think it was from a Harvard Business Review or something like that, some study or something like that, where they talk about the 4 squares of learning.
okay.
Square number 1, you are an unconscious incompetent. Square number 2, you are a conscious incompetent. Square number 3, you are a conscious competent. Square number 4, you're an unconscious competent. And I have spoken about this for 30 years. And to my audiences, I've written about this, and I say, here is the perfect example that everybody will get. And that is how to drive a car. When you are a kid and you would go with mom and dad and you would get in the car and they would start driving somewhere and you would ride in the back seat, okay? And you're going along and you're just like, this is so cool. This is so easy. Everything's so fine. And
I think I see where you're going with this.
Yeah, at that phase, you don't know how to drive a car, and you don't know that you don't know how to drive a car.
Right. You're in the bottom.
You're an unconscious incompetent.
Whatever that.
Okay.
Right.
And you become, and then when you start to take lessons, and the first time you get behind the wheel and you go, holy shit, I don't know how to do this.
So at least you're a conscious incompetent.
That's right. You're a conscious incompetent. And then you learn how to drive the car. But in the beginning, when you learn, it's like you get in there and you're very conscious about every single, look at the rearview mirror, look at this way, look like that, and drive it, look around here. And it's all very conscious. So now you're a conscious competent. And then you become a conscious incompetent where, you know what, you drive to work and you don't even remember driving to work.
That's funny. So what do you think AI is?
I think AI has made us all unconscious incompetents. We don't know what we don't know. And for the the hardest, and I would say that the group of people where this is the hardest to accept are the people who for years called themselves AI experts.
I see. I think that it is interesting that I've heard some people speaking about this, and we always had this thought as human beings that the thing that made us special was that we could both think and reason. And
that's a really good point.
You know how America has this weird exceptionalism, like, oh, we're the greatest country in the world. And because of that,
inside America, that's how we feel.
Yeah. But inside, as a human race, we feel like the same way, exception, like we're special. And we have a very special kind of intelligence that no other plant, animal, being that we know of has. We're so special, except now what we're hearing and I'm learning is that our intelligence is actually very similar to AI's intelligence. It's neural networks. It's learning neural networks. And there is, in a weird way, no real difference between our intelligence and the capability of that intelligence. In fact, we're already less intelligent than the AI, a lot of the bots or whatever it is, the LLMs that we created.
100%. I 100% agree with you. But would you agree with me if I said that what we have now created is smarter than us because it learns faster?
Yeah, like light speed.
I think so.
Like light speed.
Yeah.
Like we have no idea. We have no idea. We're not 7 months into this.
No, that's why I say we are all, and it doesn't, and I include everybody on the planet, including all those people who think that they are the experts in this. I'm sorry, folks. We are all unconscious incompetence right now.
What about what's going to be in a year or 2 or 3, which is like nothing in the scope of things? Even when the internet came out, AOL.com, blah, blah, blah. It was like bite-sized chunks that we could get our arms around and adapt to and blah, blah, blah. This may be running us in a year or 2 for all we know.
This is Terminator.
Yeah, it really is. It really is.
Yeah. And that's why, and boy, if I have ever,
I need to send you back.
Make you feel bad. Make you feel bad. I sincerely apologize because I think you are such a brilliant guy. I'm not a communicator. This is why I'm an introvert, why I am better. Oh, I am unemployable. This is why. Okay. I don't play well with others.
And I know. I wanted to tell you that. Just it's a feedback. That's all. Because I want to bring stuff up that's cool, but I also don't want to be like pounced on. So that's all.
And I didn't mean to be pouncing on you. I'm saying that I get that these guys, I get it. If I were in their shoes, I would be the exact same way. But I'm not in their shoes. I'm outside. I'm looking in.
Yeah.
Okay. And exactly. I have that Harvard thing about, do we know that we don't know? And I think there are a lot of people out there who have not gotten there yet.
Yeah. Also, what was said last week was because somebody said when these chatbots or whatever it is that we're using, these tools, when they deliver an answer and we ask them, can you explain how you got your answer? Can they do that? And the answer was they can provide a couple of examples of data points that they used, but the problem is that they actually may have 1 trillion data points. Like that so how do you explain that?
It's like when ChatGPT started coming out and I was reading studying as much as I could about it. One of the things that absolutely just was so, my mind just could not wrap around it, was that when you put a prompt in to ChatGPT, okay, it doesn't come up with an idea where there's all these words. It's one word at a time.
That's the generative, and that's the probability. It's all like probability. What's the probability that the next word would be this?
Yeah.
Or that? That is an
word at a time.
That's an unbelievable concept.
That is so hard for me to wrap my head around. And God bless these people. Nicholas Negroponte was my mentor when it came to when I wrote in my first book, my trade show book, about this thing. It was just a thing that was out there that I had learned about and read about and studied. And I thought, is this thing? Because I was writing about trade shows. The question was, is there something out there that might replace trade shows?
Oh,
see, that was the whole thing. So the question was, and I don't even remember what I called it. It was not called the World Wide Web. It was not called the internet. It wasn't called anything like that. But I had met Nicholas Negroponte. I read his books, and I just kept reading this stuff thinking, how's this going to impact the trade show industry? That's all I cared about back then.
Yeah.
That's all I cared about.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, we should record because I've got to go at 10 after 6.
We are recording.
Oh, okay. Is this our actual?
Are you brave enough to publish this?
I'm a brave dude.
Because I think this is a great conversation. And I would be happy to put this out as to say, hey, we got on to start talking about something. And it turned into a conversation that we didn't expect.
That's fine with me. Let's keep talking.
Okay, cool. Let's keep talking because I think people are going to listen to this and they're going to go, holy shit.
Yeah.
This is good stuff.
Yeah, it really is. I can't remember if I sent you the output from an analysis that I did on Chat GPT last week, I think.
No, I don't think so.
Let's see. I probably can't share it on my screen.
I can give you if you want to share something.
I'm just thinking about, I want to make sure that.
Is it something you can? I don't know.
It's a client issue.
Oh, then be careful. Be careful.
Yeah. I want to protect that, but I want to just share. I'll share with our listeners just the jaw-dropping, ridiculous power that can come from this. And my advice to people, you and I were talking when we first started about like prompts, and the way I write my prompts, a lot of times I imagine someone is sitting across the desk from me who I employ as like a research assistant.
Yes, that's exactly what I tell my clients is act like you're talking to somebody that you just hired.
What would you tell them? Would you just tell them to do something without giving them any context? No, you would just say, okay, here's the situation. I'm doing this. I really want to learn about this. And here's what I would like you to do and the information that I would like to get. And when you bring it back to me, please put it in this format, and you be as specific as possible with them about the format that you want it in. And so I did that, but
make it in English.
Yeah, this output would just make it in English. It just
simple stuff like that
absolutely blew me away. One of my clients makes products in their industrial products on construction sites called aerial lift platforms, like boom lifts, scissor lifts, telehandlers.
Oh, yeah. Okay, sure.
Okay. So I told ChatGPT, and I use ChatGPT 4. I use the plus paid version so that I can at least get that. And I explained what I'm doing. I explained that I am building basically strategies for contractor segments. Okay. Different contractors like electrical contractors, painters, window washers, and all the things that you could possibly think of, roofers, specialists in different areas. Okay. They all use these aerial lift platforms, but they use different ones. Some use a regular scissor or a rough terrain scissor or a telehandler or a telescopic boom or an articulating boom. Different ones to some extent. And also, I didn't know all these trades. I knew some of the trades that use them, but I didn't know all of them.
What do you mean? Trades? Or
the trades, all the different contractor
types.
I
see. Okay. The different segment
jobs
of the industry.
Yeah, let's call them jobs to be done.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Sure.
Tasks that you on a construction site or even maintenance that use these. Okay. So I asked it it was iterative in that first I asked it, what are all the segments that you can come up with that are these task-oriented ones that use this type of equipment? And it gives me a list. And I said, I want more. And it gave me more, et cetera, et cetera. And I said, take your expansive list. And it was probably like 50 different things. I think it really was like 50 different types of activities. Okay. Yeah. And I said, I would like to know for each one of those activities, the extent to which they use each type of aerial lift platform. 5 different types.
Okay.
Does this trade use each type high, medium, or low?
So you're asking it to give you like each trade.
Yep.
And what they use and how and which in what order.
And I asked them to give the output in a grid format so that it would have the left-hand column, all the trades, and then across the top, the different types of telehandlers, and the different types of aerial lift platforms. And in each cell, high, medium, or low usage by each of those trades. Basically, before I could hit enter, the whole grid appeared and populated. We're talking 3 or 4 seconds for 50 times 5. That's 250 cells in a grid.
No, okay. All right. Pause.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pause. How long do you think it would take you, or how long do you think it would take somebody that you hired, some outside contractor that you hired to research that and find that answer?
Couple $1,000s of someone's time, either mine or someone that I hire, to get it right. And I'm not going to say that I didn't copy and paste this and use it per se. I gut checked it and I changed some things based on my own knowledge. And I created something more of it and added some other things that weren't on the list and massaged it or whatever. But it saved me and my client a hell of a lot of time. So now I can do other value add work.
That's right.
And it reminded me of things that I didn't know or that I had forgotten or what have you. And it's wow. And then, of course, if you want to ask it anything, dig deeper on this particular situation or whatever, it's going to go and give you that info.
Can I make an additional comment about this? Yeah, that one of the warnings that is coming out all over the place about using AI is don't copy and paste. And put it in your own words. Make sure it's in your own voice. Make sure you double check. And I get that. I totally get it. I totally get it. But I also think that what is more important is the prompt. See, I have, and somebody needs to. I feel like that guy sitting at that table with the sign that says prompt engineering is the next superpower. Prove me wrong.
The only thing that would prove you wrong is the people I was with last week said, "Oh, prompts are going to be history soon. They're already working on ways to eliminate a prompt." I don't know, but for now,
I know. No, and in fact, I agree with that. But it's not here now.
Exactly. So I had a guy. I was telling him that I use this every day. And I use it as a substitute for Google, or I use it to just get extra information about things. And it does stuff. It's very useful. And so he sent me an email. He says, "I experimented with that thing you told me, and I asked it to scrub a website. And it said it was an AI chatbot and it couldn't do that. So I gave up." And I'm just like,
and that is where, okay, and this may even go back to what we were talking about earlier about your friends in AI, is that we are still humans. And and every single one of us has our own heuristics about the world. And so we see things as we are. We don't see things as they are. We just don't. It is so hard to accept the fact that the way I have been thinking for the last 10 years, all of a sudden is wrong. Not wrong. No, it's not wrong. It's not relevant anymore.
Do you think that some people have I think some people have different learning styles. Like some people really love experimenting and playing around with things and learning by doing and failing and then trying again and failing and trying again and learning and getting better. Some people, they want an instruction manual.
Yep.
And they want it exactly to work. And if they follow the directions, it's going to work, and they're not hardwired the same way. And I think this is, at least for now, this is going to favor people who are willing to play around with it. If it gives you a bad result and it says it can't do it, try asking a different way.
You change the prompt. That's all it is. That's why I think at this moment, and of course, I agree with these people 100%. When somebody says to me, "Oh, we're going to prompt engineering is going to be gone. That stuff's not going to count anymore," I'm going to go, you know what? I agree with you, but until then, prompt engineering is the superpower.
It really is. There's a lot of videos. If you search people, there's people who are teaching prompts right now.
Yeah. And if there's anything I would say to people right now is that if you want to kick your competition's ass, learn prompting. Because you were just talking about all these different areas that you went in and you were asking AI, and I use the term AI because hey, they're everywhere. They're everywhere.
So, it's everything.
Yeah, it's there is no one tool.
Jasper, Bard.
I am fascinated by how you went in and use that stuff. When you and I were preparing to even have a conversation today, both of us went on to AI and we were prompting for ideas to talk about.
Did we both do that separately? Did you see mine and you went and did it, or did we actually have the same idea?
I'd already done it.
That's so funny. But that's just without even thinking about it. I'm just like, oh, what are some, because you and I, we think about future podcast episodes when we plan ahead. So instead of just like sitting there racking my brain, I went in and wrote a long prompt about what should our podcast episodes be? And you wrote in what are most often search terms for marketing related search terms.
Yeah.
And the reason why that works is because we have an audience of people that like B2B marketing. And if we can make a podcast episode that hits the sweet spot of what they want to hear,
that's the important thing.
Why wouldn't we do that?
That's the important thing. And that's why I'm going to continue to stress this. I am simply only talking about AI at this moment in time. All right. This sucker is going to change so fast. It's changed so fast in the last 6 months. And right. my little pea brain doesn't know where it's going. But I do know this. It has already proved that it helps us. It helps us in ways that we couldn't even have imagined.
One of the founders of OpenAI, I saw a video recently, and someone asked him, what do you think the landscape will look like 5 years from now? And he said, well, he has no idea about where the AI will actually be in 5 years, but he thinks that there will at least be a couple companies that will be as big as any company the world has ever seen.
I think I saw that interview.
Did you see that?
I think so.
And it's wow.
Didn't he also say that this is the first great challenger to Google?
Yes,
and I don't think he meant that in a.
That's true. He didn't.
He
didn't. But it's actually true.
I think AI has shocked not just all the easy people to shock, okay, but when the CEO of Google says, "I don't know how Bard learned Nepalese,"
and even Bill Gates was interviewed. I saw another one recently where he was talking also about the OpenAI and Bard and Microsoft and all that. And he was like, they give him update meetings here and there. And he says, you're still training it. And so when it can do this, and he gave it a challenge. And he said, when it can do this, then I'll be interested in really talking about letting it go live, blah, blah, blah. So I'll be back. This is like summer. And he said, so I'll be back, towards the end of the year. We're talking like November or whatever. Yeah. And the guy responds and he goes, no, you can probably come back in about 5 or 6 weeks. And it's just the speed.
That is again, I think it just goes back to when people are experienced at something, when they've been around something for a while, again, we develop our heuristics, okay, where we see things a certain way, okay, and we analyze things a certain way, and we think that, I hate to say it, I think Bill Gates thinks he's pretty smart, and he should. He is verifiably
of
smart.
Course, the world that he has known with the boundaries and parameters that he has grown up with and that he has known to date. And as you said, everything changed on November 22nd.
I know. And my question about every smart person in every industry, every single one of them, my question for us is to say, do we really believe that they don't have heuristics?
Everybody does.
Yeah. And that's why when I hear really smart people say something about AI, and they say it in a way where they sound like, oh yeah, this is the way, this is not, oh yeah. As the moment I start hearing that kind of a conversation,
yeah,
I immediately start thinking, it's their heuristics. Where'd you go? Are you running away from me?
No, I'm back.
Did
I'm
you
back.
just run a lap around the office?
No, I didn't. I had to get a book.
You went that direction, and then you came back from this direction.
Yeah, I went around the world really
yes,
fast.
You did.
Yeah.
What book is that?
It's called The Inevitable by Kevin Kelly. So Kevin Kelly was the founder of Wired magazine and futurist.
Yes.
And this is, here it is, to Dave, Kevin Kelly.
Did you write that?
No, but this was pretty wild because when was this book out? This was in 2016. And I think this was 2017 when he signed this. It's 12 understanding the 12 technology forces that will shape our future. There's things like self-driving vehicles and things like that. But when the question of AI came up, he basically said, he goes, you all have no idea. It's a whole other revolution on the scale or more of like the Industrial Revolution or something like that. Because he said when steam and then electricity and then the internet, when all those things came, almost overnight, everybody said, oh, okay, where can I apply that? I'm going to apply this to every single thing I possibly can.
Yeah.
We're going to motorize everything. We're going to electrify everything. We're going to internetize everything.
Yeah.
He said there's going to be AI in everything, and not to mention augmented humans. And not that we want these things, but now at this point, how do you put any of this back in the barn?
It's in the box. It's out of the box. And I'm one of those guys where, see, when a sea change comes, see, when the internet, when Nicholas Negroponte, and I wish I could remember the book that I had read, and after I met him and talked to him, and all of a sudden I started learning about this thing that was going to be just this, it had already been created. The internet had already been created to help scientists communicate with each other in a way that, and it was based on war. All right. It was based, the U.S. put this together, U.S. government put this together because they didn't want an enemy to be able to come in and blow up someplace, and it would stop the smartest scientists from communicating with each other. That was how the internet got created.
Thank God we're not using AI in any military way whatsoever. Thank the Lord.
Oh my God. Yes, thank God.
Because I'm sure that we're not.
Oh my God.
Because who would do that? Yeah. Who in the world would do that? You know what? There's good and evil. There's good and evil applications of literally everything since the beginning of time. Maybe it's a trait of humanity. Maybe it's actually even a trait of machines. Who knows? And they can't tell the difference. But this is what we're going to have to grapple with. I have a friend that I grew up with that actually founded the first. He actually co-invented the XML language that websites use, and he founded the first like B2B internet exchange company. It was called Chemdex, and they sold chemicals and put buyer and seller together. And he made a fortune and he retired. But in 92, like around the time that he was inventing XML, I said, what is the impact of all this? This was before we couldn't get on AOL or any of that kind of stuff. There were a few things that you could get on, and he signed us up for something and we played around with it, but screen, all that kind of stuff. And he said, here's an idea. He said, I guarantee that in the future, and I don't know how many years, he said, all music will be free. And you're going to pay like $500 to go see the Rolling Stones live. And I'm
he said that?
Yeah, in 92. Wow. In 92. And I said, what the hell are you talking about, Jeff? What? He said, oh yeah, it's just all going to be digitized. There won't be a business model for selling music, but there will be for seeing music.
So what he was saying was that, okay, it was going to be originally you went to see people live and you paid to go see people live. And then all of a sudden records and tapes and things like that came along, and they made more money from the product that they were selling than they were from the concerts.
Much more.
And now, as we all know,
now they really can't make
it's
too
flipped.
much from
it's
all
gone
that.
backwards. It's gone back again.
It really has. So it's just wild. And I guess the same thing is going to happen with AI. There'll be certain things that are completely disrupted and replaced. But then on the flip side, there will be some things that become dearer probably because of all this. I don't know.
Yeah, we don't know. But of course, that is the way this stuff works. Okay. And I guess it goes back to when and I didn't mean to make you feel bad, but I have a propensity of doubting experts.
You have a propensity of them?
Yeah, 100%. You know what? And when the internet came out, and I had been studying the internet for years, before anything, I had my first website in 1994. Okay. And I was saying to people, this is the way it's going to go, gang. If you're not jumping on this right now, you are going to miss the bandwagon. And there were so many experts who because I was a big time speaker. I was a columnist in big trade magazines and things like that. And people just said, Steve Miller is the dumbest, stupidest person on the planet. And I was like, okay, we'll see. We'll just see. And so exactly. Now it's the same thing, is that all these, there are people who are really smart, and they're going, hey, we got to get on board with this, and we got to learn this, and we got to do this right and stuff like that. But there are also, and it's just human nature, there are also people who are experts and they hang on to yesterday.
Yeah.
Because when and I'm going to say it again, I'm a broken record. When the CEO of Google says, oh, we didn't see this coming. We didn't know this would happen when we released this 2 weeks ago.
Exactly.
Okay.
I have so another collateral damage from this has to do with trust, because all of a sudden, I was always a little skeptical naturally about what I read and what I saw in the news or anywhere, anything that come across. Is it real? But really increasingly, almost daily, increasingly, I just don't know if a photograph that I see is real, if there's a person in it. Did you see the Pope?
I thought the Pope
in the Balenciaga puffer jacket.
I was so happy for that Pope. I thought he is the coolest Pope that ever lived.
Coolest Pope ever. If you're listening and you haven't seen the picture of the Pope in his white Balenciaga puffer jacket,
I wanted that coat. I wanted that coat.
Oh yeah, it's expensive, and you just don't know. You don't know if anything is real anymore. So I guess there's going to be a business in verifying if something is real.
Oh yeah, without question, that's coming about. But from my perspective, the people that I respect the most are the people who were the experts, and now they are saying, we don't know what we don't know. When somebody admits that, to me, that takes so much courage to say that. And it's hard. It's so hard when you've dedicated your time, your life to something for so long, and all of a sudden this curveball comes out of the metaverse that you're just going, holy crap.
So here's another challenge, I think, to listeners, because I heard this all the time. For some reason, like everybody wants to jump to the conclusion, oh my God, this is going to replace my job. But you can look at things one way and you can look at them another, and you could say, oh, if you just sit back and do nothing, it might replace your job. But how about if you use it so that you can be better at your job and beat the competition? Just, I don't know. I look at it differently.
No, I think you're exactly right. And people say, like you say, they say, oh my gosh, this is going to replace my job. My response to them is, can it? And if it can, that's your fault, because you have designed your own job. Everybody designs their own job, regardless of what you're doing. You ultimately are designing what you're doing, All right. And you're building this little box that you live in. And if you're one of those people that phones it in, you're just begging to be replaced. But if you're one of those that has figured out a way to make it, you know what? I think I know how to do something where it requires me to be involved, then good for you.
Yeah, exactly. I also have a client I may have mentioned before that makes vehicle lifts that go in service bays that lift.
Yes. We've talked about this client before. Yes.
So I won't tell you the prompt and some other things, but I asked it to write a light heart. No, please write a 15-word blog post on how to make the right decision when buying an automobile lift for your automotive service shop. Write it at an 8th grade level, make it entertaining, and use a joke or two that would appeal to somebody who is an automotive service technician.
Now, this is a 15-word. You asked it to write 15 words.
1,500.
Oh, 1,500 words. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, but I'm going to give you just a sample of what it cranked out in seconds.
Cool.
Including the joke that it made up. Hey there, fellow gearheads. Are you tired of crawling under cars and struggling with floor jacks? If you're ready to elevate your game, pun intended, an automobile lift is just what the mechanic ordered. But with so many brands and options, how do you choose the right one for your service shop? Don't worry, we've got your back. This guide will walk you through the process and help you make an informed decision. So buckle up and let's lift off. Why lifts are essential. Automobile lifts are the backbone of any service shop offering blah, 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 blah. And as a bonus, you won't have to suffer from mechanics yoga anymore. You know, those awkward positions you have to get in while working under a car. Namaste indeed. Now let's dive into the exciting world of auto lifts and the top brands such as blank. And here's a joke that will have you, quote unquote, jacked with laughter. Why did the mechanic need a new lift? His old one couldn't handle the pressure. So it goes on. Factors to consider when buying a lift, capacity and vehicle types, with some words: lift type, brand reputation, safety features, ease of use, installation, maintenance, price and warranty. It did it. And it was publishable really almost without a change.
Yeah. See, okay.
Now, does that eliminate someone's job, or does that help them their job?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. See, that's the thing.
It helps them with their job, and then they can do something else.
And the answer is sure it can, but you wrote the prompt.
Yes.
That has been my point, right?
Yes, I did.
Is that prompt engineering is today's superpower.
Yeah.
Okay. They might say, oh my God, look at that. It replaces us. No, the prompt replaced you.
What would it have done if I had just said, write a blog post about how to buy a lift?
Yeah.
That would have been boring, but I instructed it.
That's right. You instructed it. And I just absolutely love that. I just think that was really great. I'm already going to tell you what our next conversation is going to be about.
Prompts?
Yep.
Let's do it.
That's what we're going to talk about, because you and I have two different approaches to prompts, and they both have worked, I think, very well for both of us. It's just one of those things where, you know what, there are many roads to the top of the mountain, and learning how to do this stuff. I love the prompts that you have read to us today. I just think they're just incredible, but you had to really spend some time putting it together, and that is valuable.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a little bit like being a manager. Your instructions are important. Or
you have an employee. You've got an employee who has the ability to move mountains.
And this reminds me of Stephen Covey. When you think about 7 Habits of Highly Successful People and all the things that he wrote, he has that story about how he left his son to take care of the yard for a couple days. And he came back and it looked, in his opinion, messy. There was some trash on it, some other things, and it was brown. And he said, you didn't take care of the yard. And I cut the grass just like you said, and I did the edging or whatever. He said, what about that? What about that? And he said, you didn't say anything about that. And he said, so it's so important to say, what is the outcome you're looking for? And in his case, It was clean and green. I want the yard clean and green.
And this is no different. This is no different than managers who hire somebody and they say, okay, go do this. And you give them this instruction. And then you come back later on and you go, what the hell is this? And they said, I did what you told me to do. Same thing with AI.
Maybe you didn't tell them enough.
AI can move mountains.
Yes.
AI, when you give AI the right instructions, it can move mountains. Man, those prompts that you wrote are awesome. Just
yeah, and this doesn't even, we're in the marketing business. This doesn't even touch the surface of people who are actual coders. I've talked to a lot of coders who are basically using AI to code for them. It writes a lot of code. It does math equations. It does all sorts of things.
It does, but I think hey, you might disagree with this. I think the majority of people who are listening to us right now or watching us right now, they are in small businesses where they wear a lot of hats and they're fighting to compete with in the marketplace and stuff like that. But they don't have a lot of, they're not coders and they don't have a lot of time. But boy, I'll tell you what, something like this can really make a freaking difference, gang.
Yeah, it really can. So if you're listening and you're thinking, oh,
if you're still here,
that's just like a big company thing. We don't need that. Think again. And if your company won't let you use it, just use your personal account. And then if they get mad at you, tell them to call Steve.
And I will say, you need to start your own business as a solopreneur selling prompt engineering to companies who will pay you for the value that you're giving them.
There you go. Maybe we should do that, Steve.
I think very soon prompt engineering is going to be a very high valued skill.
Hey, on that note, my dogs are barking because they're hungry. They're 20 minutes late.
Your feet are barking?
No,
isn't that the old saying?
The dogs.
Yeah, my dogs are barking. Your feet. Yeah, it's like you're going, oh my man.
No, these are real canines. These are not peds, whatever. So I need to go.
All right, my friend, take us out of here.
You all have not been listening to an AI bot, but you have been listening to people talking about them. None other than Steve Miller. We didn't even have an intro on this one. So this is the intro and the outro. The B2B Marketing and Sales Podcast with Steve Miller and the Dave Loomis, also known as The Voice. And it's been a pleasure talking with you and debating and getting excited about this new world we live in, for better or for worse. Next time, we're talking about prompts. Tune in. Bye-bye.